Okay, this is an episode that you have to see, and I can't wait to rewatch 3 years from now because I want to see like how predictive like we are on this stuff. Because we are. This is Logan Burt. You're with the Alliance for Affordable Energy.
That's right.
And my mind was blown doing the research for this episode. It really, really was.
It's exciting.
I was like, whoa, this is a big deal.
We are in a special place in history of
energy.
That's right.
Of power, of making power, of distributing power,
of using power.
Using power.
That's right.
This is, and like you flick the light. Okay, I come home, I flick the light switch on, I want the lights on. Like
that's right. So do I. So does everybody here.
We want that to function, and we want that to function well. And my power bill like right now is like $200 a month, and it's not cheap. So the biggest thing, and there's a huge deal going on in New Orleans. When you go over the Green Bridge out by Paris Road, there's the Michoud power plant.
That's right.
Energy shut that power plant down.
That's right. Last summer.
Why? Why did they shut that down?
So that power plant was almost 60 years old.
Okay.
There has been a power plant out there since the 50s.
Since the 50s.
And that power plant was getting very old and expensive to run.
Okay.
So when a plant gets old like that, in the same way a car gets old, it doesn't use fuel as efficiently. And so it gets very expensive.
Okay.
And so it isn't worth running. It would cost more to do the upgrades and maintenance than it makes any financial sense.
So shut it down. Okay. So now that the power plant is shut down, we are getting our power from energy. We're buying it from energy, but where is energy getting it from?
So we buy our power from our utility, which in New Orleans is Entergy New Orleans.
Okay.
Entergy New Orleans owns both plants and parts of plants all over Louisiana and Arkansas.
Okay.
In fact, we get a lot of our power from, 57% of our energy came from nuclear in the last couple of years.
Okay.
So that comes just straight up the river from a number of different plants just up the river. But the closest plant is actually 9 Mile, which is just across the river in Marrero.
Okay.
It's very close. It's about 2 miles from the Carrollton area sewage and water work plant, if you get some sense of location. And so, for the most part, that's where we're getting our energy. And we're getting it through a larger grid. Which is actually connected, are you ready for this? All the way up to Canada.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So we're connected to an energy market that stretches from the Gulf Coast up into Canada.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And go ahead.
So, okay, well, it's just, so like when you talk about like, that's where the Carrollton station gets, and I don't want to turn this into a water board.
No, we don't need to do that.
But the pumps are getting energy from energy through that way.
So Sewage and Water Board gets about 60% of its power from Entergy and the rest from self-generated power.
Okay. Right. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, well, when a hurricane inevitably comes, and a storm blows through and knocks power grids down, isn't it beneficial for us to have I don't want to be without a power generator in the city, because if we're relying on outside power to come in, isn't it knocking down the supply lines? Like, isn't it going to take longer to get power into the city, or no?
So what we know from historical storms in New Orleans is that the power station that was out there, the old Michoud plant, didn't offer us much resilience or reliability in the face of storms historically.
Okay.
So, for example, during Katrina, it flooded 6 feet.
So it was off anyway?
Offline for 8 months.
Okay, all right.
During some of the other big storms where there were outages, and then we got power back up. In fact, Entergy talks sometimes about Hurricane Gustav, when we were separated from that larger grid that I was talking about. But it wasn't just New Orleans that was separated from it. We were actually still directly connected to 9 Mile, to Waterford 3, to Little Gypsy. We had power that was reliable and resilient all during that time. But you know what didn't offer us any power at all?
What?
The Michoud power plant, even though it should have been up and running.
Okay.
So
I'm getting from your tone, and I don't know this for a fact, but right now from your tone, I feel like you think that the Michoud plant is a bad idea.
I do. The Alliance thinks that that's a bad idea, the Alliance for Affordable Energy. And a number of organizations around the city, including neighborhood associations, including church groups, think that this is a bad idea.
Okay.
And partly because they don't want to pay for it.
Well, okay, so and I read the newspaper every day. I'm the last millennial that does. Thank you. And one of the things in the newspaper that I notice is that energy is advertising for this plant.
That's right.
So it kind of starts to make me think: why is energy advertising, spending money? And because when I take out a newspaper ad for the coffee shop, it's because I want you to come buy coffee.
Right. That's not cheap to do.
It's not cheap to do. So if they're taking out ads in the newspaper, it means there's something in it for them.
That's right.
So that's when my red flag goes up. And I'm a little bit even more like, okay, we need a power plant because I'm hot, right? And I want the lights to work, and I want a plant nearby. And I don't care how much it burns because I want to stay cool. But wait a minute, why are you taking out newspaper ads? Because I've got to pay for this ad ultimately.
Yep.
So why would they want? Why is Energy New Orleans, I guess, pushing so hard for this plant, in your opinion?
In my opinion, so let me just tell you a little bit about how utilities make money.
Okay.
Utilities make money two ways. Building large capital projects, whether that's a power plant or a transmission line or a distribution line, they make money by building these things. And just like a contractor who come build your house, you pay them for all the things and then you give them a profit on top of it. Okay. Right? Okay. Entergy receives a profit on top of whatever they build. Okay. So they earn a nice, tidy 10 to 11% right on top. Okay. And so they're incentivized to build things.
They want to build it because they can make money on building.
That's right. Whether or not they sell a single kilowatt hour out of it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but let me tell you the other why.
Okay, the other why.
The other why. We started this conversation talking about how the changes in energy are all over the country, all over the world, are enormous, right? They're huge.
Huge.
One of those huge changes is that for the first time in the electrification of the world, utilities are seeing, instead of growth year over year of kilowatt hour sales, they're seeing it flatline and in fact fall. And so, remember I said utilities make money two ways, by building things and then by selling kilowatt hours?
But now but we're using less power? That's what you're saying?
We're getting more out of that power because of things like energy efficiency, because people are just smarter about using power. And so all over the country, utilities who've been used to building things and selling more and more are seeing their business model change.
Okay.
Gas plants like this, especially really expensive per kilowatt hour natural gas plants, peaking gas plants, are starting to go the way of the dinosaur. They're old-fashioned technology.
Okay, so let me stop you right there because I'm going to let them know what I've researched.
Please, thank you.
So, because solar power sounds like we're eating granola and doing yoga.
Or maybe pie in the sky. Sounds like.
Except it's not. It's really so when you think of how fast technology was adopted in terms of something like the iPhone. One day we didn't have phones with screens, and the next day everyone not only has it, but we cannot even fathom life without it. Yep. I'm looking at it and like, this is what's going to happen, because here's what's going to happen. I don't give a shit about the environment. I will burn whatever I have to burn to stay cool. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You'll just have to stay inside and not breathe outside if that matters.
But I also care about money, and I'm a business guy.
That's right.
So when you say, look, you can get electricity via solar panels, because the sun's already beating the roof of your house, making stuff hot.
Yep.
You can take that and turn it into air conditioning, essentially, and you don't have to pay energy, and you can generate your own power. Yep. And that's great. Yep. And that saves me a ton of money. I'm in. I'm for it. And that's happening now.
And in fact, that is one of those reasons that utilities are selling less and less energy, because more and more people are installing solar panels.
I will totally install a solar panel. Right. Now, from one of the things that I've researched too, is when I switch the switch on, there has to be, it's an instantaneous thing.
That's right.
So when I switch the switch, there has to be something generating power over here in order to flip that switch.
For the light to come on.
For the light to come on. If there's nothing here and I flip the switch, nothing happens. It has to be happening here.
Yep.
So at nighttime, I have solar panels.
Yeah.
It's nighttime, there's nothing happening over here. I flip the switch, I'm kind of screwed.
Unless.
Except now batteries are becoming a thing. So can you speak
Sure. So batteries for a long time, as solar really started to take off over the last decade, batteries were sort of the holy grail.
Yeah.
You know, when are batteries going to get cheap enough to really change this for this exact reason?
For this reason, okay.
And it is happening faster than anybody ever expected. So the cost of solar panels...
And Tesla has a lot to do with it, and the automobile thing has a lot to do with it.
Because
they're incentivized by money.
Aren't we all? That's what incentive means.
Yeah. to come up with the batteries to run these cars, but they also work for this purpose because they're big, powerful, efficient batteries.
They are. They're big, powerful, efficient batteries that you can use every day of the year. So you might think in New Orleans, for example, lots of people put generators in their homes for emergencies.
Right.
But you only use
Which
that.
I want, by the way. I'm renovating my house right now, and that's on my wish list of things.
Right.
And I swear to God, I had it budgeted.
Did you?
And I axed it after researching this.
So,
because there's no reason for me to do this. I'm gonna save that money in the next couple of years and put it on some kind of panel and battery system.
Because here's the thing, that generator, you would only use that occasionally.
Occasionally.
Right? You wouldn't use that every day.
Well, I do live in Bywater. Our power goes out constantly, so...
I'll tell you more about that in a minute.
Okay, all right, okay.
But you wouldn't necessarily use a generator every day.
Right.
Solar and batteries, every day the sun shines,
every day.
You would use it.
Every day.
Every single day.
And it's going to charge.
And even when it's a little cloudy, you still have some generation during the cloudy days.
But the batteries is the kicker.
That's right, because then you can stretch that out, store it, use it at night, use it when you need it.
When I need it.
That's right.
And this is amazing to me.
That's right.
I'm shocked at how close this is. I'm going to watch this episode in 3 years and be like, damn, Kevin, you were smart.
You should really have invested in Tesla or whatever.
Or anything. Yeah, it's coming. I actually was looking to buy stock in Tesla.
That's right.
Because Tesla has stuff attached to power grids now.
They do. They absolutely do.
And they built this technology in 88 days.
It's incredible. Here's what
I lost my mind.
When you decide you want to do something, and you decide that you can do it, you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And so what I know is, we are at a time in a changing energy system that the whole thing is changing. It's changing for you in how you use it. So do you get a more energy efficient HVAC system or AC system so you're not just throwing money out the door?
Yeah.
Do you generate your own electricity? Does the utility help pay for a more expensive HVAC system so that they don't have to build a larger power plant? Yes, they do. Right.
Gotcha.
And so how all these things are connected are changing every day, but we're in a really exciting place because technology and because people have solutions that they're putting into place.
And technology's getting better and better. It's that thing that it doubles every 6 months or whatever the case is.
That's right.
So energy essentially, you're telling me, one of my big questions is that this is so outdated. Why does energy want to build this? But they want to build it because they can get some money on it.
They can get a profit on top of it, but also, I really believe this is nearly the last time that they're going to have an opportunity to build a natural gas plant. Because these sorts of plants, these peaking plants, are becoming obsolete around the country because of things like solar batteries, things like energy efficiency, and something called demand response, which is just using technology to more effectively use energy when we need it and reduce those energy peaks on hot days. And so these power plants, literally, they're getting built and not used. But this is an opportunity for them to lock in a profit
and get it and
for
put it
30
together.
years.
Interesting. So when you talk about, so it's a peak power plant because again, like I said, when you switch a switch, and this is how I understood it.
Yep.
Everybody's coming home and switching switches at night.
You got it.
And so you've got to have more over here to get it. So that power plant is only essentially running like an emergency generator.
Yeah. So, and just on the hottest days of the year.
Okay.
So not even every day.
So it's just kind of like sitting around. It's like my generator sitting in my yard.
That's exactly right.
The other thing too. Okay, so the city council, New Orleans City Council, is going to be the deciding factor in this.
That's right. They're the regulator of Entergy New Orleans.
So they're going to be voting on whether or not they want, or whether or not we, because they're our representatives, want this power plant. And it's kind of
to pay for this power plant.
Want to pay for the power plant. So it's a shame though, because we just elected these people, and I have no idea how they feel about this. So is this going to go through, or what do you think is going to happen?
So a decision doesn't actually happen until February. This has been an ongoing sort of
So it's not
question.
the new council members, it's going to be the current council members.
It's the current council members, that's right. So
it makes me feel a little bit better, but not really, but go ahead.
Well, they're still supposed to be representing you. And so that's why a lot of neighborhood associations are...
But a lot of these people are lame ducks.
They are.
Because they're out. They're on their way out. They're out in January. So
that's true.
If I'm sitting on the council, I'm like, who's paying me off? You know what I mean? Like,
it's a fair question.
Is that happening? Is that, you can't necessarily...
I couldn't possibly know that or say. But I don't...
And then,
I would hope
so talking about the city council, they also are involved in some energy efficiency thing or something that's going on?
So the New Orleans City Council has put into place something called...
Because we're moving away from the Michoud plant.
We're moving away from the Michoud plant, but this is actually connected.
Okay, all right.
So
because it's a grid.
That's right. It's all connected, right? So New Orleans has an energy smart program. It's administered by Entergy, which means Entergy works with another company to reduce people's energy bills. Because they're required to by the New Orleans City Council. Okay. But this is because Louisianans use far more energy and waste far more energy than anybody in the country. Okay,
because it's hot?
Because it's hot. We have not had these energy efficiency programs until fairly recently. Other states have us years, decades ahead of us on this. Have been actually paying attention to things like insulation, building codes, which we didn't have until 2006.
And my house is like 200 years old. So
that's right.
I live in a pavilion, essentially.
And many of us do. And so that means that we are air conditioning our front yards, the underneath of our house, our attics. And
it's cooler underneath my house than inside the house.
Right?
So, yeah.
Nobody's enjoying that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What a waste.
Yeah.
And so what we are suggesting and what the council is saying is let's find as many ways as possible to save that energy so we don't have to generate it.
Right.
Because energy efficiency is always cheaper than generating power.
Certainly. Okay, but my biggest thing when you're saying this, I'm like, oh crap, like you want me to spray foam the bottom of my house or whatever. Like and I get it because I wouldn't have a
You would have a much lower electricity bill.
And so that's great, and I'm going to save money in the long run, but like it costs money today to spray foam. So like, is that part of this thing? Like,
that's right. So the Energy Smart program helps people pay down the costs.
Because there's a lot of upfront costs.
That's right. That's right.
But it helps in the long run.
That's right. And so what that means is because of these Energy Smart programs, New Orleanians have saved many millions of dollars as a result. So like $20 million last year as a result of these energy efficiency programs. And what happens with all those dollars is they go right back into the local economy. Okay. You know, dollars
Well, yeah, because if I save money, I'm going to piss it away on something else. I don't want to say an expensive latte, but...
No.
I don't want to go that far.
That's right.
It's a good thing to piss money away on.
But the other thing that's important about this energy efficiency is that it can, by reducing the amount of energy waste, reduce the amount of energy we need to generate in the
So we don't even need to pay for the spot. So what you're saying is that we don't have to pay. I've got you. You got it. You're saying.
And as a benefit, we have more comfortable homes.
So you're saying spray foam the bottom of your houses, and we won't need the power.
Well, there are lots of things you can do. You can seal up your ductwork. So you know those ducts that run through your house that carry all the cold and hot air. you would be shocked at the number of ducts that have never been sealed.
That leak and they just...
And leak, and just the insides of your walls are nice and cool, and you aren't. And so there are tons of these things that the Energy Smart program can help you do. So we are saying...
Because 30%, really, even if we got ourselves back down to just the average or closer to the average,
that's right,
you're moving 10-15% of the entire amount of electricity we actually need.
That's right. So, for example, in Maryland, the Public Service Commission, the regulator in Maryland, said to all the Maryland utilities, look, you have to save this amount of energy, and you have to reduce your peak needs, meaning on those hottest days of the year.
Yeah.
You have to reduce that by 15%.
Okay.
And they did it in 7 years. If we reduced our energy needs by 15%, it would be much, much cheaper than to build a new power plant. We could save a lot of money.
This is, and that's the kicker. And then, and if you're a greenie, if you're, anti-greenie stuff, you probably shut this off a long time ago. But
I don't know why. This is about money.
It's about money. It's about money. It's about technology, and it's about money. It's about saving money, and that's the biggest kicker.
And it's about money to everybody, right? So it's about money for the people who have a really high energy burden, meaning they spend an enormous amount or portion of their income on energy. New Orleans has the highest energy burdens, or second highest in the country, which means that for our low-income residents are spending up to 20-25% of their income on energy.
On electricity, wow. Or energy or whatever,
This is not about cars. This is about electricity and gas, right? And so, but it's mostly electricity. And so what we need to do is find all the ways we can coordinate a transformation in how we build houses, how we renovate houses, how we heat and cool our homes, to make everybody more comfortable, have our bills lower, and frankly, healthier. An efficient house is healthier because a lot of people have asthma, and asthma can be exacerbated by humidity and all these different things. And so we can actually reduce things like asthma attacks. Literally, I know it sounds crazy that all of these benefits, but it's true.
Logan, thank you so much for coming on this show. I in my research ahead of time, and hearing you talk about it, I mean, if you'd have told me solar 3 days ago, 4 days ago, I'd have been like, that's a pie in the sky thing, but it's not.
It's not, and you looked it up and you saw that it's true.
It's true.
It's not just coming from the advocates. It's not coming from...
Because I knew you were coming on the show, so I said, let me do my research on this, and I knew this energy plant was kind of out there, and how do we deal with it? So, from a resiliency standpoint, it's happening in places right now.
That's right.
And if it's happening in places right now, that means the technology is getting better and better. It's getting cheaper and cheaper, and we're going to go over the cliff. We're going to tumble over that real soon, to where it's just going to make sense for me to get this system instead of getting a generator. Getting this system that will power the house every day.
That's right. And what we saw during these most recent hurricanes in Florida is that the people who had solar, even if they didn't have batteries, if they had solar, there were people that were able to come back and have electricity before the rest of the grid was up.
It's amazing.
It's a big deal.
It's absolutely amazing. I had my generator picked out. How many kids? Man, I had the whole.
Put it away.
It's great. This is really fascinating stuff. So you can maybe send me some links,
and
I'll put some links down below so you can check out some of this stuff for yourself. How technology changes, how technology adaptation of technology rapidly increases on like an S curve, as opposed to just like. And how solar power and battery prices are tumbling quick. So once you cross that point, right? So like this is coming down and this one's going up. It's going to do that.
That's right.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Logan, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Oh goodness, this is fun.
Take care. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks.